Hi guys, welcome back, and welcome back to another review show. This time of the Europa League Round of 16 second legs, and it was a crazy night of football. Some underdogs really performed really well and shocked us, and some great comebacks as well on the night. And we finally have our last 8 teams for the UEFA Europa League. So let's get straight into it. The first game was Dynamo Kiev against Chelsea. Chelsea 3-0 up from the first leg, and the second leg was played in Kiev, and they won 5-0. Great performance by Chelsea. Olivier Giroud with a hat trick, and all in all, just a great performance by them. Callum Hudson-Odoi as well, getting on the score sheet, and Giroud also had an assist. A great night for Giroud and for Chelsea. I always rated Giroud from my previous videos. If you've seen regarding Chelsea, I think they need to play Giroud more. You know, he offers them something different and is a clinical striker. For me, he's a top striker, and he proved it last night. And a 5-0 win for Chelsea, 8-0 on aggregate, and they are looking good. So going into the quarterfinal stages. Um, Up next, it was Salzburg against Napoli. Salzburg had to were going into the second leg 3-0 down after they had lost 3-0 in Naples, and it was a big task for them. And they played incredibly well. They won the second leg 3-1. Unfortunately, the away goal that they conceded came back to haunt them, as Napoli took it 4-3 on aggregate. Had they scored the fourth one as well, it would not have been enough, because they would have needed to score two, thanks to the away goal that Napoli scored. Napoli scored through a close range bicycle kick from Arkadiusz Milik, the Polish striker, former Ajax player, a great player. On the night, didn't do much but chased down channels and chased down loose balls, and helped in the structure of the team. And a good finish, you have to say, a bicycle kick, although it was just 6 or 7 yards out. Salzburg, on the other hand, really could have maybe won the game 4-1 as well, or maybe even 5-1. They had Munas Dabur, who's an Israeli international who will be joining Sevilla in 2019. He had a scissor kick that went off the post, scored a goal himself, and he was really that threat on the night and played very well. Their substitutes as well scored, two of them. One was an Austrian striker. Can't really get his name right now, but they both scored, and it was 3-1 to Salzburg. Another player that really caught the eye in that game was Jabozlai. He's an 18-year-old Austrian player. He's been linked with Arsenal, and he was really good on the night, had an assist, and played around 70 minutes. Also, the next game, moving on, was Krasnodar 1, Valencia 1. Valencia 3-2 on aggregate. This was a cracking game. Krasnodar scored a wonder goal from Sharpie, a left-footed curler in the top corner, and it was looking good for them because they had the away goal and they were going through on away goals up until the 93rd minute. In 30 seconds, it was 4 minutes of added time, and there was just 30 seconds left, and Gonzalo Guedes scored an assist from Kevin Gamero, and that was unfortunately heartbreaking for Krasnodar, and Valencia, joy for them. Valencia did not start with their strongest team. A couple of key players, Rodrigo on the bench, Kevin Gamero on the bench, Gonzalo Guedes on the bench, and they did not really start with their strongest team. However, Marcelino rang the changes, and the changes worked, because Valencia are now in the quarterfinal after a 1-1 draw. So 3-2 in aggregate for them. Moving on. Rennes 3-1 up after the first leg against Arsenal, and going into the second leg, Arsenal had it all to do. And at the second leg, it was an incredible second leg. Arsenal came back, 3-0 winners on the night. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with 2 goals, also pulled out a mask of the Black Panther to celebrate. It was really nice, although he did pick up a yellow card for that. And Arsenal move on. They go to the quarterfinals 4-3 on aggregate Two goals from Aubameyang and one from Ainsley Maitland-Niles, a header, assisted by Aubameyang, and great result for Arsenal and great comeback by them. They had it all to do and they really responded and showed that they're a top team. So great play by them. Also, moving on, there was Benfica against Dinamo Kiev. Benfica against Dinamo Zagreb, shall I say. And Benfica going into it were 1-0 down from the first leg, and they had to win. They had to score at least one to force into extra time, which they did. Jonas scoring for them, the legend. He's 34, 35 now, and he's still doing it for them in the clutch moments when they really need him. So it was Jonas for them, and then going into extra time, it was two players that scored two wonder goals. Ferreira, 21-year-old Portuguese centre back, scored from 35 yards out into the side netting. It was an absolute screamer. And then one of my favorite players and one of the upcoming left backs, Alex Grimaldo, with an absolute wonder strike again, 35 yards out. It was just a brilliant goal. And for me, Alex Grimaldo is one of the top players and upcoming players in the world. 23 years old, former La Masia player, Barcelona, and he's been linked with Arsenal and as well as a return to Barcelona. So it'll be interesting to see where his career takes him. I don't think he's going to be at Benfica next season, personally. Going into it, Benfica 3-0, but also Dinamo Zagreb had a man sent off in the first period of extra time, in the first period of extra time they had a man sent off, and you have to say after that it was all over for them. Before that, they had an incredible opportunity to make it 2-1, and Goyak just missed the ball completely. It was a tap-in from 2 yards out. That could have completely changed the game, and unfortunately he wasn't able to convert. So that's Dinamo Zagreb for them. They played really well. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. The next game was an important game and a shocking game. Well, not really shocking. Inter 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 1. The goal scorer there, Luka Jovic, again 20 years old, pounced on an error from Milan Skriniar and gave Frankfurt a 1-0 lead. Frankfurt on aggregate take the tie 1-0 and move on to the quarterfinals. They had plenty of chances in that game, and unfortunately they couldn't score more. However, Inter also were not very convincing on the night. So that was 1-0 to Frankfurt, and Frankfurt go through knocking a potentially big giant out in the form of Inter Milan, who many teams going into the quarterfinals would have thought that Inter would be there themselves. Also, moving on, Slavia Prague 4, Sevilla 3. Slavia Prague 6-5 on aggregate. Now this is a shocker because Sevilla are 3-time Europa League winners. Going into the second leg, they were at a disadvantage because Slavia Prague had drawn 2-2 at Seville, and they had the advantage of the away goals. So therefore, going into it, they did have the advantage. However, they took the lead twice in the game, were pegged back by Wissam Ben Yedder and later Munir, and after that, after leveling it up 2-2 going into extra time, they took the lead 3-2 thanks to Franco Vasquez, and it just wasn't enough because Frankfurt pegged them back again with Van Buren, and the last final goal coming in the 119th minute through Ibrahim Traore, and Frankfurt 4-3. So from 3-2 down in extra time to come back from 4-3, an absolute dream night for Slavia Prague and for the Czech Republic. And Slavia Prague definitely have knocked out a giant. That's definitely a shocker. And Slavia Prague will be going into the into the quarterfinal stages of the UEFA Europa League. The last game that took place was Villarreal against Zenit St. Petersburg, and Villarreal in that game cruising 2-0 up. Gerardo Moreno, beautiful goal, just curled one in from outside the box with his left foot, Carlos Bacca got the second as well, and Ivanovic got a late consolation, but 5-2 on aggregate for Villarreal, and all in all, you would have to say they deserve a place in the quarterfinal. So fair play to them, and those are your 8 teams in the quarterfinal now. You've got some big names there, such as Arsenal, Chelsea, Benfica, um, and Valencia, as well as some underdogs like Villarreal, Slavia Prague, and also some potential banana skins for the big team in the form of Eintracht Frankfurt, who are in incredible form and doing really well this season, and they can shock a few going into the quarterfinals. So it'll be interesting to see who they get. I will bring you the reviews of the draw that's going to take place for the Champions League and the Europa League. So stay tuned, and there will be more videos coming out. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like um, for any of the topics to be researched, or if you'd like to know something more, please leave a comment about players, about teams, about potential fixtures. Do leave a comment, and I will get to it. Thank you for tuning in.